The ANC's head of the Electoral Commission, Kgalema Motlanthe, will this morning give an update on their party's candidates list. And this comes after the IEC admitted to that internal leak of their list. The IEC says it is investigating the matter and it's also promising to take action against those responsible. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says it contravenes the Protection of Personal Information Act. And our contributing politics editor, Vuyo Mvoko, is at Luthuli House ahead of that exact briefing and joins us now. Vuyo, good morning to you, and thanks again for keeping us close to developments in that story. One of the big contentions the ANC is making is that, you know, the leaking of their list allows other parties to, you know, kind of get their thinking together when it comes to the opposition that they're allowed to make, all parties are, against certain candidates on other parties' lists.
Of course, I mean, the leaking, Iman, of that list has created more drama. The ANC finds itself in a position now of having to explain what actually happened, because all along the leader of society, as the ANC calls itself, has been saying that it is sensitive to the cries by South Africans that they need to be transparent, but also whoever they put on their list as candidates for going to parliament or provincial legislatures must be people who are vetted, but also people who have a credibility. Now, a number of people who have been fingered at the state capture inquiry have made it to the list. Now, the head of the ANC's election desk has to explain exactly what criteria did they use. In other words, how did they include in the list people like Minister Zizi Kodwa, like former cabinet minister Malusi Gigaba, like Mr. Mashobo, who have been fingered at the state capture inquiry. So we are waiting to hear whether, I mean, in the next, 40 minutes or so, we hope to hear from Kgalema Motlanthe as to what exactly transpired at those meetings. Because if, of course, these people will stay on the list, and there's no logical explanation as to why the ANC didn't do the right thing, we will hear whether, in fact, there was someone or certain people leaned on the elections team and insisted that certain names be included, come hell or high water.
It's going to be a really interesting briefing, and I'm sure, again, Vuyo, some of these complications and permutations you're going to put to the leadership team there. I mean, you think of, former eThekwini mayor, people like Zandile Gumede, who is not on the national list, but potentially could, because there's 3 lists altogether. You have the national to national, provincial to national, and provincial to provincial lists. So she's not on the national list, but could she make it to those lists? And also, even though the ANC's asked her to step aside, she's still been publicly campaigning with members of the top 7, no less.
Indeed, I mean, the provincial lists have not been leaked, unlike the national list. So a possibility exists that someone like Zandile Gumede could make it to the provincial list. We don't know yet. In fact, we don't even know whether the ANC will make the provincial lists available to us today, because on Friday they said those lists will be made available in due course. And that's going to create a lot of controversy because the ANC have been saying that it is self-correcting. They said that it wants to give South Africans the assurance that the people who make it to these leadership positions, whether in provincial legislatures or in the national legislature, are people with credibility, that they have listened to the cries of South Africans who say, clean up your act or else. So we don't know what the ANC has prioritized in this instance. In other words, are these people powerful or so powerful, people like Zandile Gumede, for example, that they cannot be omitted from this list? And you'll recall that Zandile Gumede, alongside Dr. Zweli Mkhize are the strong people that the ANC has put forward in its battle to retain control of KwaZulu-Natal, which is probably going to be the most contested province in this election. So a lot of pressure on someone like Kgalema Motlanthe, who is usually frank and outspoken as to what actually happened. We will hear from him in the next 40 minutes or so.
Contributing editor Vuyo Mvoko, thank you.